Good morning. I want to talk about something I'd seen recently. Marc Lamont Hill did an interview with Chris Rufo, and a question that I didn't expect to kick up this giant uproar, this furor, was when he asked Chris Rufo, "Okay, what do you like about being white? What are the positive aspects of? What do you feel are the positive aspects of whiteness?" And to give a little bit of context, Chris Rufo was talking about how he felt that everything, the only negative things are being associated with whiteness. And so Marc Lamont Hill said, okay, so please tell me what the positive aspects are. What do you feel? What do you like? And I saw people online just going, great, oh, that's crazy, it's a trap, oh, because what happened is he didn't answer the question. He skated, he went into, in fact, let's take a look at the clip.
And if I were to say to you right now, Christopher, what do you like about being white? What would you say?
I don't know. Again, it's such an amorphous term. It's like a census term or a
but can you do me a favor? Indulge me for one. We're running out of time. Indulge me for a minute. I understand you see it as all these things, but you surely recognize that the world sees you as white. You know the world reads you as white. And if you were to ask me some things I like about being black, I could talk about cultural norms. I could talk about tradition. I could talk about the kind of commonalities I feel around the diaspora. If I were to ask you particularly if you're saying whiteness is a thing that is being constructed as negative and shouldn't be, name something positive that you like about being white. That doesn't answer the question, no. You're telling me you're making straw men about things that are ascribed to whiteness that you think are wrongfully ascribed to whiteness. I'm saying if whiteness isn't a negative thing, and there's something that and that whiteness actually shouldn't be constructed as all negative, name something positive that you believe is positive about being white.
Again, I don't buy into the framework that the world can be reduced into these metaphysical categories of whiteness and blackness.
He didn't answer the question. He starts skating around trying to say, oh, well, what's whiteness really? And like that right there, so that's wholly disingenuous. Let me tell you why it's disingenuous. Like, there was this, was it a month ago, 2 months ago, a few months ago, there was this big sure about this company saying be less white. And just, oh, this is outrageous. How can you say this? Like you want people to be ashamed of being white? And now you're at the point where, well, what's really white? Like that's like that dumb stuff that AOC said when they asked about reparations, and she's like, well, what's really black? Like, yeah, that's some stupidity. Stop it. Like it's you'll know when you're talking about what whiteness is, when you're talking about a whole host of other things. You'll suddenly know the difference between white and black, right? When you're talking about black on black line, well, what's really black? Are we having any questions then? No. But so stop the stupidity, and stop being disingenuous, because now this is an insult to intelligence. So what really gets me though is that there are people saying, "Oh, it's a trap." I'm like, "It's a trap? What do you mean?" They're saying, "Oh, well, if he says something, it's gonna make him seem racist." I'm like, "Okay, wait a minute. Now, you're doing a couple of things, and projecting is one of them. But what's interesting is, if you're saying that means what you're saying is your answer that you feel, whatever your answer is about what you like about being white, is racist. That's what you feel. You can't say that, because number one, you haven't answered the question. So you can't now say how anybody else is going to perceive you. What you're telling us is how you perceive you. You perceive your answers on why on the positive aspects of whiteness to be racist. You. So don't put this on anybody else, because that's what you feel. I mean, you know what your answers are going to be, and if you think your answers are racist, then that's something you have to deal with, either in your own perception of your answers, or in maybe you're right. I don't know. That's something you have to deal with. But what's really, really interesting is I saw Michael Knowles do a reaction to this, and he said some things that he had a better take on it, but at the same point, he still got it wrong in this key aspect. He still says that, oh, well, you see, anybody else, and he actually plays the clip where Marc Lamont Hill then says, oh, well, let me tell you what I think some positive aspects of blackness are. Cultural norms, links to the diaspora. So like he actually was able to say, listen, I'm giving you an example, and now I'm asking you for an example of, I'm giving you an example of positive aspects of blackness. I'm asking you for some positive aspects of whiteness. And he says, oh, no, but Michael Knowles is talking about how, well, everybody else can do this, but whites can't. And I'm like, wait a minute. That sounds kind of like like you're, once again, you're assuming that this is going to happen. You're assuming that, oh, you're being persecuted, and you will be persecuted if you just express yourself. He asked you the question. He asked Chris Rufo the question. So now, he's giving you, and not only did he ask, he answered it himself. You now have an opportunity to have an open dialogue. You chose not to, and you choose to claim that, oh, you're going to be persecuted if you answer the question. That sounds a lot like some victimhood to me. And I'm waiting for all of these anti-victimhood activists to show up and start, yeah, you got to stop with this victimhood, like be able to speak and stop saying that, oh, people are going to persecute you for being you. Like, yeah, like, what are you talking about? Because you just invented like this persecution that wasn't coming, especially when you were asked the question. He was asked the question and given the opportunity to answer, and he chose to, instead of answering the question, to act like he doesn't know the definition of words. But like, that's the thing. So like, when black people say, oh yeah, if we go into this area, we're getting profiled, and people say, oh no, you're just being a victim. Okay, well, this is being a victim, and I'm wondering why all these anti-victimhood activists are just like crickets right now. Yeah, and Michael Knowles, including your colleague Candace, where is she? Where's that anti-victimhood, speech that she likes giving to black people that she needs to be given to you right now? You and all the other white people that are claiming that you can't say anything positive about whiteness. He's explicitly asked you to do so. Like that, like, it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's have open, honest dialogue. Because it's so funny, that, you have so many white conservatives who will say, oh, we can't even have the racial discussion. We can't have discussions on race because people can't have open, honest discussions. People, we're being silenced. Okay. And now somebody literally asked you, express yourself, and you choose to silence yourself. Like, you choose to invent a problem that hasn't been presented, and you can say, oh well, he'll be canceled. Listen, he's from the Manhattan Institute. He's pushing, like, if you just look at somebody like Heather McDonald, you've been pushing right-wing talking points for forever and a day, and you're saying things that people on the left don't like. So stop it. Stop. Like, you'll have no problem saying a whole host of other stuff the left doesn't like. Like, but now all of a sudden, this is something that can cancel you. Like you've been saying stuff that the left disagrees with, and you're not canceled. I mean, and you may not be getting invitations to their dinner parties, but you weren't getting that anyway, right? So like, how's this going to change that? But like, it's like there's this it's clear victimhood, this victimhood culture, and I'm waiting for these anti-victimhood activists to step up to the plate and call this out. Like, hey, stop being victims. You want to have this open and honest discussions of race? Let's have them. Marc Lamont Hill provided the opportunity. Now, let's say Marc Lamont Hill goes ahead and switches up. Oh, okay. Then that's something we can discuss. But that didn't happen because you weren't even honest enough to answer the question. And in your dishonesty and in your disingenuousness, you tried to act like you don't even know what whiteness is. So now, like, because the whole thing, if you say, oh, well, who's whiteness? What's whiteness? We don't even know what it is. It's an amorphous. Okay, well, then why are you complaining? Because if you can't even clearly define whiteness, why are you here complaining about how whiteness is perceived? Because what is it? It's not even real. We don't even know what it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just like PragerU said, race is unimportant, right? Okay, so let's stop, because I mean, it's amazing. There's all these gymnastics, these flipping of positions whenever any discussion of race comes up. And what's being clear is you're not being silenced. You just don't want to have the conversations. It's becoming increasingly clear that the reason you don't want to have these conversations is because you're not arguing any of the stuff you're arguing in good faith. And And hey, he gave you the opportunity. You chose not to take it. That's on you. And Michael Knowles, you choose to invent this fantasy in your head that you can't say, oh, what you like about being white. Like there's a whole host of stuff, and he gave you some tame things. Like he actually opened the door and said, listen, this is what you could say. Like you could literally repeat what I just said. You could say, oh yeah, I like I like the certain cultural norms I like about being white. And link to a very well documented history. Cool. Yeah, like you could have went the funny route. You could have said something like, oh yeah, well, I really like about being white. I really love, raisins in the potatoes. Like you could have been funny with it. Like there was a whole host, and think about it. Here's what happened if you're funny with it, with raisins and potato salad. It's an icebreaker, and you actually begin opening the bridge of having an honest, a very amicable discussion on race. But right now, it's becoming obvious who's been standing in the way of us having and having a open dialogue on race. And it's not us. I know it sure isn't me. Like as an individual, like I've been more than willing to have open and honest discussions with people on issues of race, but I'm not the one standing in the way. So it's people like you that are having that are standing in the way. It's people like you, white conservatives who want to who assume that everybody else is out to get them, which is some victimhood culture, or you just don't want to have any discussions in good faith because you don't want things to be clearly defined, which makes no sense because you claim you want to move forward, but then you don't want to have any discussions that will allow us to move forward. Like just last week was a perfect example. We have the Tulsa, the commemoration of the Tulsa race massacre, and a bunch of people on the right are, oh, why is this so divisive? Like this doesn't have to be divisive. Like we should be united in condemning the massacre. If we're not, that's not an us problem. That's a you problem. So that's all I got for today. Thanks for checking out the channel. As always, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.